Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. It is time for Reviews on the Record. This is where I talk to you about one of the book clubs that I am a part of, one of the books that we read, tie it into some of the vinyl that I have, and then pose a question to you as a community to start some conversation. So this week I'm looking at my Sacramento book club. For the most part, we are made up of amazing women here in Sacramento, but anybody's welcome. But this is a small and mighty book club, and we have lots of book choices from every genre. But the one that we looked at for this month is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. And I think that this book ties into a lot with what's going on in the world right now, a little bit around just what it feels like to be a woman. So I'm excited to get into it with you all. This book really takes place in mostly the 1970s. It kind of jumps back and forth between earlier times, but most of it takes place in the 1970s. And it's really looking at the disappearance of a guest at one of the camps in this wooded area. And this guest also happens to be the daughter of the prominent Van Laar family, who also owns this very illustrious campground and most of this small town that they're in. And this 13-year-old girl who goes missing, Barbara, this really is reminiscent of her brother going missing sometime before. And so there is this kind of going back and forth between her brother's disappearance and her disappearance now. And overall, I think that this book is really well written. It is a literary thriller. It's one that I thought kept my interest the whole time. I tend to guess a lot of thrillers, and I don't often get surprised with endings, but I definitely was surprised by this one. I really loved the female characters in here. I think there was a lot of complexity and a lot of archetypes of women in this book. So you have very strong female detective characters, but ones that feel very stifled by their family conditions because of being a woman in a male dominated field. You've got women that come from a higher class but have that feeling of being stifled because of an overbearing husband and the pressures of society. You've got the pressures of class, being a poorer person as a different female character. And then you've got the pressures of the camp counselor, who is a woman who doesn't really fit into the same gender norms, as well as the female character of Barbara, who is a young girl who's 13, growing up in a family of affluence who doesn't fit in. So I really loved all the different archetypes of women, each of them facing their own kind of stressors and peril, but really showing the resiliency of females in general during that time. There wasn't a lot of great male portrayals. There was a lot of complexity when it came to the issues of class and wealth and land and kind of who owns what and how that's split up, that I thought the author did a really great job in weaving in a lot of those themes. I wanted to tie this into Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, great album. But I think that this time frame definitely was a big part. And I would say that so Never Going Back Again would probably be the song that resonates the most with me. And that song is all about not making the same mistakes in future relationships, but really just learning from the past. And I think that is a central theme in this book is there were a lot of mistakes made in this community by a lot of different people. And I think each person has to make these choices to not make the same decisions that they did, not go back to who they were, not make the same choices that they did in the past. And so I thought that that song really resonated with me. I think overall for this book, I would definitely give it a 4.2 out of 5. It was really well constructed, great characters. I would say the ending for me was a little rough, just because I don't know how realistic it could be, but I liked the ending because I was surprised by it. I would say spice level, not really any spice in here, maybe a 1.5. And character development, I would say there were so many characters in this book. It would be really hard for each of them to develop, but the ones that did get developed, I thought were pretty solid. So I would say 3.5 out of 5 on that. And my question to you, in terms of our community question of the week, is what is something in your community that you wish was different, that you wish maybe could move away from in the future? And I would say for me and my community, I would say that there isn't as much camaraderie or neighborhood connection as I would like. Not so much knowing your neighbors by name, kind of building that sense of community. It's a lot of like, we just keep to ourselves and leave each other alone. And I would love to see more of where I live, more of that sense of community. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thank you again for joining me today. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and if you haven't yet, get out and buy your copy of Ghost Texts and Exes, my book that came out in January. Thanks again for being here.